I'm Johnny Delgado, and today we're going to be talking about variables. So these are a series of videos meant to shore up your foundational understanding of programming, whether you're new or you're just trying to get a better grasp on things that you've already been using but might not understand very deeply. Hopefully these videos will help. So variables, what are they? In simplest terms, they are a place in the computer's memory to store data. Or in simpler terms, variables are a container for information. They're made up of three parts: a name, which is just what we call it; a type, which is what kind of information is going to go in this variable; and a value, which is just the value of that data. So this is all kind of abstract. I'll go ahead and give you an example in Java. To create an integer, that is a whole number, we would say int I. That's it. We have now created a variable, and we can run this and we don't have any errors. Fantastic. To set a variable, that is to say, to open up that box and put a number in there to store it for later, we say I equals 5. The reason we don't have to write int again is because we only need to say int I once in our declaration. To set the variable later on, we just need to get the name, put our equals sign, and then add in the value. And now we'll try to print it to the console to make sure that the value inside our box is in fact 5. And to do that, of course, we would say system.out.println. And let's see if it runs. And sure enough, we get 5. Awesome. So this is how to create and set variables, and also how to get variables. Here we are getting the value, opening up the box and having the print statement read the value. But let's talk about the different data types. We talk about something called primitive data types in programming, and these are the simplest types of information we can store in the computer. These are things that are at the level of the computer's memory that get stored just in a very basic way. We're going to talk about a few different types of primitives today. We already mentioned integers, which are whole numbers. We're also going to talk about two ways to represent numbers with decimals. These are either doubles or floats. And as a beginner, you probably don't need to worry too much about the difference, but you will need to know how to create both of them. So if I'm going to make a double, and I'll call it D for simplicity, equaling 2.5, done. Now you might be thinking, well, Johnny, hold on. This looks fine and all, and I'll run it to prove to you that it is fine. Why can't I just do that for integer? Well, okay, let's see what happens if we write 5.5 as an integer. It's going to give us an error and say cannot convert from a double to an integer. Now you see, it knows that 5.5 is a floating point number, is a number with a decimal. So that can't be squeezed into an integer without some extra work. So instead, when we create a double, that allows it to be a number with a floating point value. And I'll go ahead and print it with system.out.println. Sorry, it is hard to type and talk at the same time. Sure enough, it prints out 2.5. Now, I did jump over a small step. You might be wondering, whoa, why can you do this in one line? Wasn't it 2 lines before? You know, here I say int I, and then I say I equals 5. Here I'm initializing the variable all at once. That is to say, I am creating the variable and setting its value in a single line. And this is just a programming shortcut we can do. And with floats, it's the same process with just one adjustment. We add the letter F at the end of our value. So we would say float F equals whatever value, in my case 4.2, and just put the letter F here. And let's print that to make sure that it yields 4.2 as we're expecting. And sure enough, There we go. Now, final type, and I don't want to take much more of your time, but I do want to mention characters. Characters are, it's a symbol or a letter or a single digit number that we don't want to do math to. Think of it as any value that you can express with one keystroke on your keyboard can be a character. So if we do char c equals a, and then we go ahead and print that out, sure enough, that prints out a. We can also say, we can make it a percent sign and try to print that out. And it works as well. And I also mentioned a number that we don't want to do math to. I can say the value equals 1. And sure enough, it works. And now what about the number 10? Let's see. Oh no, now we get an error. Because characters are only ever single letters, symbols, or digits. If we get into longer, like multiple numbers put together, or for example, a word like yay, we try to print that out, it also complains because this is multiple letters. A character can only be a single letter or symbol or number. But once again, if we're using it as a number, we don't want to do math to it. So I'll finish up with something that actually functions, and we're going to go ahead and end it there. I hope you've learned something. I hope this was useful, and we're going to talk about variable operations in the next video. So have a wonderful day. I've been Johnny Delgado. Thank you so much. Bye.